Hello, I'm Ellen Ott Marshall,
I'm Susanna Snyder.
and we're the co-editors of this new book by Chalice Press called Parenting for a Better World, Social Justice Practices for Your Family and the Planet. And we're really grateful to the Stead Center for a chance to tell you about our book. So a couple words about what's behind it, what motivated the book. We suspect these motivations will not be foreign or unfamiliar to you, but one of the things that Susie and I struggle with quite a bit is not only how to juggle the demands of home and work and our commitments to social justice and ecological care in the world, but really how to integrate those things together. So it's not just a time management question, it's really about an exercise of bringing these things together so that they are integrated in our lives and speak to each other. So we have shared as moms and friends and colleagues, we've shared those struggles with one another. And what motivated the book was really an effort to bring into that conversation colleagues and friends of ours that we know who also struggle with this and also seem to do it quite well, not perfectly, but well, they're striving. And so the second motivation for the book was really the effort of bringing more folks into this conversation and offering some hopefully very practical and honest reflections for other parents.
So what's in the book? How's it organised? Well, we've got 13 different chapters, and each chapter discusses a different practice that you might want to try. And each is written by a different author. And rather than each chapter focusing on a different social justice issue or an injustice like racism or classism or sexism, we thought it might be more helpful to parents, more practical, if you like, if we organised the book around different practices. So each author weaves together different threads in each of their chapters. So they start by sharing a particular struggle. So for example, mine was about how to respond to climate change while also parenting young children. And then each of us talks about a practice that we use to engage this struggle in their family life. While we're discussing that practice, we also offer some theological exploration of the practice, often drawing on scriptural passages or biblical stories. And then we most concretely end with a try it out section. And this offers step-by-step instructions about how to try out the practice or sort of thoughts you might want to have while you try something like this out. And these aren't blueprints for action. They're not designed to be something you pick up and enact exactly the same as we've done it. But they're really a sharing of some of our own ideas and struggles and successful moments and mistakes. But we really wanted it to be quite practical, as well as having that theological reflection and connecting it with our faith. The authors are all from the US, UK and Canada, contexts that, while they're very different, do have some similarities. So the US, the UK and Canada share colonial pasts and imperialistic tendencies today. They're places that are seeing the growth of political division and far-right politics, and we all have neoliberal capitalist consumer economies. The churches in all three countries are also facing similar challenges, decline in numbers and finances, splits between those who identify as evangelical or conservative and liberal and progressive, as well as churches' own histories of racism and classism and so on. But I guess that's where the end of the similarities in the author's context end. We're all really different, and we wanted that to be part of our book. We have different types of families, from single to dual parent, adopted, biological children. We have different ages and stages of children. And we come from different sexual, racial, ethnic, and so on backgrounds. We're from different denominations. So we hope that in some way you'll be able to resonate with some of the people talking and writing in the book about what they've done, that their experiences might be like your own. But at the same time, there might be other chapters that really stretch you to think in different ways about, because people are coming from a really different place, that stretch you to think about what your own practice might look like and how that might be different. There are, of course, an awful lot of things that are said in the book, but if you want to sort of boil it down to a few key takeaways, I think this is what we'd like you to kind of pick up from the book, I guess, that we recognise that it's really hard to be fully present as a parent and to engage with all the problems in the world. And we're living in tough times. And I think the message that comes through each of these chapters and the book as a whole is that good enough is okay, that trying is good enough, and that we need to celebrate what we can do rather than what we can't do. I think another key message is that the small everyday things really matter. Practices, everyday practices matter. Justice is made, lived through little things as much as through grand gestures. Or to put it differently, the routine of our daily lives is where ecological and social justice happen or don't. It doesn't have to involve loads of extra time and big actions. It's more about how we live our everyday lives, including through our parenting. And Ellen and I found that really encouraging and exciting as we pulled our book together. And in that, what we also discovered is that actually our faith is formed, our spirituality is deepened in the ways in which we engage in social action. It's not something that we do separately as if kind of we are Christian and then social action follows, but we actually found our faith and our relationship with God deepening through this action. Which I guess points to the last key takeaway, is that we're not suggesting that you add all of these things on top of each other: work, engaging with your faith, parenting, social justice action. Somehow what this book is about how we do these in an integrated way through everything that we do, rather than through separate actions.
So we wanted to give you some suggestions on how to best use the book. We really have intended to craft a very practically helpful and honest book for you. And so the try it out sections that Susie named are really that. I mean, they are bulleted or numbered lists of steps for you to follow with your families. But so the whole structure of the book is really intended to be as practical as possible. It has 13 chapters. As you saw, as Susie was talking, each chapter is very short. They're 10 to 12 pages, and they end with that try it out section. So it works very well for groups to use. You can read 1 or 2 chapters for a session, and it's not too taxing. None of us has a lot of time. Obviously, that's one of the drivers behind this book. So you can read the chapters quickly, but we'd also suggest that you sort of slow down, take your time with it. Maybe just do 1 chapter a time at a week or a session with a group, and then spend some time really trying it out. Try out the practice, modify it for your own context and concerns and interests, and rework it, share with others the practices that you're trying to address the challenges that are discussed in each chapter. We have a website, which is here on the screen, and there you will find longer versions of this talk that you're welcome to use to share with your group. You'll find some recordings that include some of the other authors talking about their chapters. So we'd encourage you to make use of those resources. There is also on the website a discussion guide that was created by Amy Lazzaroni, and it's wonderful. You can download it. She has, for each chapter, she has a kind of key insight or a sort of centering quote from the chapter, and then questions for discussion for each chapter. So we offer that to you thanks to Amy. It's a great resource. And the last thing that we'd say is that on the website, there's also an email address, and we love to hear from readers about how, not just how they're using the book, but what kind of practices that they're developing. So feel free to email us so that we can continue to all be in this work of integrating the different dimensions of our life together. We thought we'd close with just a short paragraph from the afterword, just to give you a little bit of flavor of the book itself and to offer you some words of encouragement. So in the afterword, we write, "We hope that the voices collected here offer some encouragement for you. Whether you take up a particular practice or not, let yourself be encouraged by the thought that someone somewhere is doing that good thing. People all over are parenting for a better world. We are trying in our own ways to make this beautiful planet a more just place where our children and our children's children will flourish. So take heart, knowing that you are not alone and that every little thing you do matters. We really believe that God is present always and everywhere, doing a new thing, taking our small everyday offerings and weaving them into a better world for all." So thank you. We look forward to hearing from you.